94XO, it's MonneXo, and I'm down here at Cortex about to speak with Kayla Dennis, the founder and executive director of the nonprofit organization Tribe All Good. Let's learn about people matter cultures with the expert herself. You're watching 94XO. Kayla,
Yes.
I would love to know what the meaning is behind your nonprofit organization, Tribe All Good.
Sure, sure. So I gave a lot of thought to the name of the entity and wanted it to be a reflection of our mission as well as how we want to be received in the community. So tribe, because we are of a tribal and indigenous culture, and we want for it to be very inclusive but culturally driven. And the all good comes from my experiences and work in underserved communities. For 10 years, I worked with St. Louis Housing Authority in subsidized housing and in some of the most dire and challenged circumstances. Young people would tell me, "It's all good, Miss Dennis." So I thought that was so promising and so optimistic. And then also that the acronym is TAG. And to me, that means action, and it's transferable. So we're in a place where we're tagging our community and expecting the community to continue with that momentum. So.
I love that. Like, I love the way that you tie that into your own personal experiences, also with maintaining professionalism. What are some of the things that you guys focus on in TAG, including like your mission and your objectives?
So our mission is to create and build and nurture healthier, just, inclusive communities that reflect a people matter culture that support startup and grassroots not-for-profits to open, grow, and thrive. So we do that by shoring up do-gooders, change makers within the community. We really respect the communities that we are in and that we serve. And we believe that they know best what they need and who should be delivering that service to them.
Yeah.
So just in my life, I've identified so many, phenomenal people, from, a Miss Smith who, donates or commits her, fixed income to paying for repasses at her church, because a lot of the families can't afford to give their families a good homecoming, meal.
Yeah.
To, a group of black teachers in St. Louis who commit, one Monday a month to going in and supporting, inner city kids with getting them prepared for college preparatory tests, or teaching them STEM, STEM classes.
I'm glad you touched on STEM.
Yeah.
I know like that was something I didn't know that much about until recently, so I'm glad you talk about that.
Yeah, but these are all people who just from the, goodness of their heart want to contribute to making their communities better.
Yeah.
And, that's what I think should be celebrated. That's what I think should be advocated for. I think, it shouldn't be where they suffer because they're trying to contribute. So we want to identify them. We want to see how we can support them having a bigger impact and thriving without the self-sacrifice.
Yeah. And I think you touched a little on my next question of as to why did you create the nonprofit? Your background of being, doing things with leadership and community work. What made you decide that, hey, I want my own thing to, help my people?
Yeah. Well, I've always been that square in a circle and not fit that mode. I had phenomenal parents and sisters who just really instilled that there were no limits. I was born black and female, and they promoted all the greatness that came with that.
Yes.
So I never felt limitations. And from leaving, a career path with quasi-government, I sought to be my own boss, because with that, I felt that I could empower other people in a better, in a more impactful way.
Definitely.
So I've owned, I'm on my third business, But TAG actually was heartfelt. It came from the legacy of my mother. My mother was that person that a stranger could eat at her table and have a good meal at her table. She was a phenomenal mom, and I lost my dad at a young age, she picked up, this, as much, the slack of being a one-parent home, and, just made her children her life. But in addition to her biological children, her community, she was in that place where she was contributing and feeling that the minimum things that she did made a difference in someone else's life. So, that is what really rooted with me, and especially in my mother's transition. How could I honor her? How could I be, show that all the sacrifices she made with educating and, committing to her family and to her community were not in vain, and that it would be some continuum with that.
And I love that. I love the fact that everything you said, like, it goes into your personal life. One thing that, everyone may not do is, focus on their passion and what they love to do in their business. Obviously, money doesn't drive you, and, you do it to help other people. And that's always something, like, for myself with what I do, that's always the biggest thing to me, is helping other people. How do I make other people feel good? How does what I do benefit the lives of other people? And I think that is the most important thing, especially, in the nonprofit world, because, you do one thing wrong and it can affect so many people. So I want to know, what are some of the challenges that you have faced? So it's so many good things with having a nonprofit, but it's also more challenging.
Yeah, it is, because I've sat on quite a few boards in St. Louis, and St. Louis is typically annually the top 3 for philanthropic causes. So it's a great community for giving, and there's some phenomenal not-for-profits who are doing great work.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the need is great. And I have seen some disparity in, the resources for Black not-for-profits. So wanting to be in a place where I could empower people who look like me and helping people who look like me, and not always, not being in a place where we're contributing, of course, but there's so much that I get from the communities that I serve and work in.
Yeah.
Really, when you look at underserved and Black communities, they are one resource away from greatness. Mm-hmm. You look at the artists that come out of our communities, the leaders that come out of our communities, the talent that comes out of our communities. In most instances, the majority of the people are generous, they're brilliant, they're resilient, they're innovative. All of these great attributes that under any other circumstances they'd be running the world, but because of circumstances that are driven by the color of their skin, or socio-economic challenges, they don't have access and resources to thrive. So it becomes a survival mode versus a thriving mode. And I think that that's due to a lack of resources. Tribe doesn't come out as though we're the savior.
Yeah.
We present ourselves as, for the people, of the people, a compassion, an empathy, a understanding of the challenges, and we look to engage. That's why there's the momentum with TAG. We look to engage those, people who want to do better and who are looking for resources to, control their own destiny. And that's something that we all want.
Yeah, definitely. What are some of the programs that you guys offer for people?
Yeah. So one of them that is phenomenal is one of our board of directors. He's not in St. Louis, and he came into St. Louis and had an experience, I think, from the Michael Brown shooting, mm-hmm. Murder, and felt was driven to be a change maker, and gathered, these phenomenal artists, some of them now world renowned, and had them do a 2-day art, creation of art. The first day was for justice, the second day was, injustice. And the collection is phenomenal. I mean, I told you I wish that I had the catalog here to share it with you. But he made a donation of that collection to me from us just talking and me saying that I had some frustration with how stagnant some communities were, and that I thought it was a lot of it driven by systemic racism, and that I just didn't know how I could position to produce positive change. Yeah. And after we left a walk together, he texted me and said, that he had talked with his partner, his husband, and that he was going to gift me this phenomenal collection. And he said, you can do with it what you want, but I know that you've, had an interest in starting a not-for-profit. Mm-hmm. And he just put wind beneath my wings, because I just immediately saw all this promise. And one of the things that was keeping me from moving in that direction was that I knew the sacrifice it would take, and I knew some of the challenges that come with a startup not-for-profit, whereas you have to fit into this mode and jump through these hoops that in some instances is compromising to your mission to be able to get money. So he gave me some autonomy in how I could, push out. And a big blessing has been that friends, family, and just good people believe in the mission of TAG. Yeah. So, you asked about the programming that we do. One is that we promote people from, underserved, communities, Black and brown communities, who don't typically have advocates. They don't have someone to shore up, a dream. They don't have resources to change the dynamics of their existence. Mm-hmm. So we are looking for our community to tell us who in that community is making a change at arm's length. It could be your community Black grant, your community Black leader. It could be, the lady at the church, like I said, who stays up the night before a funeral and makes sure that that family has a decent homecoming. It could be that coach who's, taking an extra interest in the children, beyond, a trophy. It could be, that teacher who's coming into that community center on her off time, buying the materials to make sure that these kids, are taught, they're not dummied down, they're actually, pushed up. Exactly. So all of those types of, initiatives are existing, and they are alive and well in our communities. But in so many instances, they're fragmented, and those individuals, they make such a big sacrifice that they get burnt out. Yeah. And, their cause goes to, the wayside. So that's one of the primary things that we're looking to do, is to open, grow, and help startup not-for-profits thrive. Another initiative is to end systemic racism. We want to be an expert in awareness and education. We have an initiative right now, lowercase f for freedom to, capital freedom. Dr. Eugene Redmond, who's Poet Laureate of East St. Louis, he has a phenomenal collection that we're going to support his exhibit and that journey that he's had over the course of his commitment to changing the world of education, supporting his students in their thriving, and a distressed community. His work in East St. Louis is phenomenal. I mean, it should be something that we all know about, and it's a quietly kept secret. Mm-hmm. So that's one initiative. Our DE&I curriculum, we think is going to be, some of the best in the world, because we have these world experts, Leslie Coleman, Mildred Gavin, Patrick Dallas. I mean, just this committee that they do this is their profession, and they are acknowledged, throughout the country and, some instances the world, and they're committing to helping us develop this curriculum. And some of it is for people of color. Ethno-racial enlightenment, whereas we start being our own best advocate, whereas, we start to to understand that in most instances, the only thing wrong with black people is that black people think it's something wrong with black people, you know, and we start teaching our children, you know, that what they see in the mirror is beautiful and that, you know, it should be celebrated. So, you know, we are tying into some greatness. I mean, Vanessa Cooksey, who is heading up, you know, making sure that we have an HBCU in St. Louis, you know, she's on our team. I mean, it's just a really great collaboration and energy.
Uplifting.
It's uplifting, but it's energizing, you know, also that we see promise in the change that's to come.
Yeah. Oh, why you stop like that, girl? I'm just gonna keep going.
Yeah.
What are some of the benefits of having a nonprofit? So you've told me all of these things you've been doing, the love, the passion for it, but as a nonprofit as a whole, like what do you see, what are the good things about having one?
Well, it's empowering because I feel that the contributions I'm making will make someone else's life better.
Yes.
I
exactly.
mean, that's phenomenal. So of course that enriches my life.
And
you know,
that's something that's how you know that someone is a good person at heart. To know, for you to say that, it's like, man, because you know, it's a lot of people in the world that may not have the same heart as people like us, you know.
Yeah.
So I love that you know, you said that, and I love everything that you're doing because it's something, you know, that the world, St. Louis needs, because, you know, we don't know about things like that. Like, and I was sheltered, and to know like we have all these things going on, like that's. Sorry, I started talking. That kind of came from the heart. Like, oh my gosh, like it's so much information.
Yeah.
But what are some of your best experiences so far for TAG?
My best experiences have been that I went to a group of people, some families, some friends, some acquaintances, and said, this is something that's been on my heart, something that I think, you know, we should do. I want to lead, you know, from a humane, you know, perspective, you know, lead with a heart of flesh in reaching out to people. And I'll tell you, white, yellow, black, they have stepped up and said, hey, I feel the same way. It's time. You know, how can I help? And these are people who have professions, they have families, they have, I mean, heavy, heavy outside burdens. And they thought enough of me and our community and the cause to say, I'll make room on my plate to support this, you know, being a success. So my board brings so much to the table that I'm humbled that they even, you know, trust me to lead this cause. Because in every engagement I have with them, I'm picking up new energy, I'm picking up new ideas. You know, I feel that we can, you know, have more successes, that we'll have a bigger impact. I mean, they are energizing me. And, you know, the biggest challenge is that we're running to catch up with the needs of our communities, because the need is great. But I'm so encouraged because of them. I just see the successes rolling out.
Yeah.
I mean, these are people, again, who are, you know, I mean, they're just well-respected leaders in the communities and in the industries that they work in, and beyond St. Louis. You know, their touch point is beyond St. Louis. And like I said, it's been, my board is actually the petri dish for, you know, the DE&I, you know, cultural inclusivity that we are pushing out. Because although my board is 70% Black, African American, our white allies are phenomenal. I mean, they stepping up, you know, a lot of them are well in tune with what the issues are, and they're contributing.
Yeah.
So that's.
I'm excited for you. Like everything you're telling me, like it's what we need. I think a lot of people are scared, you know, to touch on situations, especially like right now with everything going on. But you know, it's something we need. It's what we need to hear. Millennials need to hear, and stay informative. So, what events do you have coming up in the future?
Yeah.
I know COVID kind of slow some things down for
Yeah.
everybody, but I know you got a lot up your sleeve.
We do. I mean, up my task too. So one is the cultural inclusivity. We are really just driving that because we think just so much change can come from that with the awareness, with the education, with the enlightenment for people of color as well as white people. So that's a big, big initiative that we have going on. Also, we're in a place right now where we're raising funds because we know COVID, we know, the social, the civil unrest. Those types of challenges that have a great effect on our communities
Yes.
that are already downtrodden. So we want to be in a place where we can lift those, change makers who are reaching out in their community and making a difference in the lives of their neighbors. So that takes money. So we're in a place where we're raising money. We also had planned an exhibit of our art. We have this phenomenal art collection that we want to share with the community. We want for them to feel the expression of these artists and, understand how they derived at, their depictions of hurt and injustice, as well as to celebrate, the justice part, the equality part of it. And we think that's a learning tool.
Yeah.
We also want to hold up those artists who committed to, contributing to the cause. I mean, their work is phenomenal. I mean, and just beautiful depictions of, their perspectives. So there's a lot going on.
Yes, you're over there busy.
We are. But like I said, it's so promising. And I think we're going to have a broad reach in our communities and beyond our communities. What we're doing is really going to change the world.
Oh, for sure. Well, where can people find information about everything that's going on?
Yes. So I had to have some paper here because I am not the social media person, but our marketing people, Nichelle, Nina, Chris would kill me if I didn't remember this. So we are at www.tribeallgood.org is our website. You can like us on Facebook at Tribe All Good. Join us in conversation on Twitter at Tagged Tribe, that's TAGGED Tribe, and follow us on Instagram at Tribe All Good.
Okay, now let's get to the fun part.
Well, I've enjoyed this already.
So I have my jar. It's called the kosore jar. It has random questions in there. You're just gonna grab it. You're gonna pick 3 questions out of there, read them out loud, and then just answer them.
Okay.
Liven up the mood.
Let's see, the first one is, what's the most courageous thing you've ever done?
Oh, that's a perfect question for you.
Wow. I think the most courageous thing I've ever done is allow myself to be vulnerable with people who are not like me, people who I'm not familiar with, and really open up and try and allow them to get to know me and be sincere and authentic in my efforts to know them.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
Next question. I need some music to go with it.
Keon Harold. No, okay. Okay, if you could only eat 3 foods for the rest of your life, what would they be? Gumbo.
Ooh, gumbo. That sounds good now.
Bread pudding and greens.
Is bread pudding a southern dish?
It is.
It is?
My
Okay.
husband is
Bread
Louisiana.
pudding is good.
Yes, I love, and I've learned how to make bread pudding for him.
I said I might need the recipe.
And let me dig down here. If you could choose one musical artist to marry, but could never listen to their music again, who would it be? Oh my. So the one musical artist I would have married, who would have been second to Christopher, would have been Prince. but I couldn't give up his music
You
again.
might have to fight for him from my mama.
Well, I'd fight. I'd put up a fight. So I don't know.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. This has been fun. And I am MonneXo. Make sure you guys subscribe to YouTube for 94XO, and we are out. Be easy.
You've been tagged.
I love that. It's your girl MonneXo, and you just finished a 94XO interview. Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment to our YouTube channel, and follow us on social media platforms. Be easy.